Hello again. So on this video we are going to start vectorizing the character. So I have placed a sketch that I created here on Adobe Illustrator. It's right here on layer 1, which I'm going to double click and set as template. Hit OK. And now I'm going to create another layer to be on top of that one, in which we'll be starting to work. Okay, so I'm going to first of all take the pen tool and I'm going to select the fill color here and click on this little red slash icon to get rid of it. So now we only have black lines. And I'm going to start vectorizing this character. First of all, I'm going to basically trace the character and then we'll take some decisions on how it will look like, the style that we're going to use, the colors, and so on. So I'm going to start here on the top of the head. I'm going to place my first anchor point, click and drag to create these handles, then continue over here, and I'm going to do this in a very organic way. I'm going to try to stay away from any geometrical shapes. Okay, so now I'm going to place this anchor point around here at the same level where this first one was. Around here, I'm going to click. I'm going to drag a little bit to create a curve. And I'm going to press enter to end this line. Now I'm going to hold Alt, click and drag to the right, and release to create a copy. Now I'm going to right click, transform, reflect, be sure that the axis is vertical, and hit OK. Now I'm going to relocate this new shape so it matches the first one. It could be here, it could be a bit more far away. It doesn't matter if we have a small gap here, because now what we're going to do is to take the direct selection tool. I'm going to click and drag to select both anchor points and hit Ctrl J as in join. So now I have united these two anchor points. And I'm going to do the same here. Click on both and hit Ctrl J. And now this is an entire solid shape. So this is the route that I'm going to take to vectorize the rest of the elements. So I'm going to draw the shape for the head. So I'm going to start around here in the middle of the hair shape. I'm going to start here at the very center, click and drag. Then I'm going to click around here, click and drag again, more or less like this. Now I'm going to click here, again click and drag. Same here. We could press and hold the spacebar if we want to modify the placement of one of these anchor points before we release the click on the mouse. As you can see, the smart guides are telling me that this is the exact same place where the top one is. So I'm going to click here, drag to create this kind of handle, and I'm going to press enter to finalize this line. Now I'm going to fine-tune this point because I want to fix it to be closer to what I had on my original sketch. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to take this one, hold Alt, click and drag to the right to create a duplicate, release, and now right click, transform, reflect, and be sure that the axis is set to vertical. Click OK. And there we have it. We have a copy of that line. So now I'm going to place it next to the other one. I'm going to switch to my direct selection tool. Click and drag here where the little gap is and hit Ctrl J to join. And I'm going to do the same thing here. Ctrl J. And there we have it. We have the shape of the head. Now I'm going to create these little curls here. So now I'm going to take the ellipse tool and draw some ellipses. But I don't want just an ellipse here. As you can see, we have this circle that has like a hand-drawn energy and it's not uniform, it's not completely geometrical. So I'm going to place my ellipse here and I'm going to double click on it to enter isolation mode. So now that I'm on isolation mode, I can edit only this element and I won't be touching any of the other ones. So I'm going to switch to the direct selection tool, the white arrow, and I'm going to play around with the handles to create something that's not entirely geometrical. So as you can see, I'm playing around with the handles and the anchor points, changing the positions and the sizes for these little handles. Okay, so I'm happy with it. I'm going to double click anywhere to exit isolation mode and I'm going to continue working on the other little ellipses that we have here. Okay, now it's time to create the rest of the shapes for the head. So for example, I'm going to create the ear. I could do this in two different ways. I could just use an ellipse and modify it, or use the pen tool. I'm personally going to use the pen tool because I find it easier and I'm confident that I can recreate this hand-drawn shape better with the pen tool. So I'm going to zoom right in. I'm going to start around here, place my first anchor point. The next one will be at the top, so I'm going to click and drag around here, release. Then I'm going to place the next one here at the side, click and drag a little bit to create a curve. The next one will be here at the bottom, click and drag, and then I'm going to click here and join with the first one. And there we go, it's almost perfect. It's almost the same thing that I have hand drawn on Adobe Photoshop before. Now I'm going to take the pen tool again and create this little line that we have here. I'm going to do it very easily in just two anchor points. Okay, there we go. I'm going to maybe adjust this one so it's smaller at the bottom. Okay, that's correct. And now I'm going to click and drag to select these two shapes. Hold Alt, click and drag to create a copy on the other side. Release, right click, transform, reflect, hit OK, and I have my other ear at the other side of the face, which I'm going to place here. Now it's time to draw the eyes. So for this one, I'm going to use the ellipse tool. I'm going to draw a big ellipse around here, but I definitely want to modify this one. Okay, there we go. We have an irregular ellipse that I'm happy with. So let's create the other one in the middle. So now I'm going to select both of these shapes, hold Alt, click and drag, release, and then right click, transform, reflect, and so on. Now what we can do is to click and drag to select both of the eyes, go to Object, Group. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the ears. I'm going to click and drag here to select these two shapes, hold Shift, click and drag on the other side. Now everything is selected. I'm going to go to Object, Group. Now I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to select all of these ellipses for the hair. go to Object, Group, and finally I'm going to select everything so far. And now that everything is selected, I'm going to go to Horizontal Align Center. But before I click on that, I will make sure that Align to Selection is selected. And now I'm going to go ahead and click. I'm still going to move this hair a bit to the right because I think it looks better that way. Okay, so now I'm going to draw a couple of lines for the eyebrows. I'm going to draw them very simply using only 2 anchor points. Hit enter once that is done, then create the next one. Place the first anchor point here, the second one here, click and drag. Maybe adjust the position by holding the spacebar and release. There we go. Now I'm going to create the nose. So I'm going to leave this as an open shape, as I'll probably want this as a line. And finally I'm going to draw the smile. Okay, there we have it. Face is almost complete. All we have to do now is to draw some little freckles. So I'm going to zoom in, take the ellipse tool, draw a couple of ellipses, but I'm going to go ahead and rotate them. I like how this is looking so far. I'm going to select everything here and go to Object, Group. So now we have finished with the outlines for the head. Next, let's go ahead and draw the rest of the body. So I'm going to zoom in here. I'm going to start here on the middle of the neck. So we have this as the main shape for the torso for this character. Let's go ahead and create more shapes. I'm going to take the pen tool again. I'm going to click here on the center. Now I'm going to take care of the legs. I'm simply going to draw a line using 2 anchor points. And I'm going to hit enter to close that line. And I'm going to select a big value for the thickness of that line. There we go. So now I'm going to give it a round cap. And there we go. We have this line, this thick line, which will be the leg. And I'm going to duplicate it and transform it so it's reflected to the other side. I'm going to place it around here. So we have these 2 legs here. And I'm going to do something very similar for the arms. I'm going to draw a very simple line. Now I'm going to copy and reflect. Okay, perfect. Now all that's left is to create the hands and the feet. So I'm going to set my line weight back to 1. And I'm going to start tracing these shapes. And I could make it more detailed, but for the sake of this course, I'm going to just leave them like this. Same goes for the legs. I'm going to create them in a very simple way.